Hey YouTube, this is Yonko. This is my first video, so please go easy on me. Yeah, like the title says, this video is going to be about how I think that Whitebeard failed at Marineford, honestly. Um, Besides, not saving Ace and obviously getting his head blown off by Kainu, but yeah, my main point is I think any of the other Yonko would have done a lot better than him. I think at this point in time, although he is, lauded as the strongest man in the world, I think he was actually the weakest of the Yonko at the time. So yeah, let's begin. Let me set the stage. The crew. Edward fucking Newgate, the strongest man in the world, the one closest to the One Piece, the only one who could match Roger, besides Garp. So yeah, he's obviously the leader. The Whitebeard Pirates are made up of 16 different divisions, all with a commander. Around 1,600 rough members for the main fleet, all of which showed up at Marineford. Besides them, of course, were the dozens of allied crews that came to support Whitebeard, all of whom were beasts in the New World. So these were not exactly pushovers. There were over 100,000 Marines as the enemy, roughly just as a number. Then you have to factor in the vice admirals, the ones that were vice admirals in name only, the ones that would actually, make a dent, and then the admirals, of course, and the Shibukai. So, back to the Whitebeard Pirates. The heavy hitters, if you ask me honestly, were Whitebeard, Marco the Phoenix, Diamond Jozu, and Vista. Those are the ones that really come to mind. So, let's continue. Again, my argument. Any other Yonko and their crew at the time would have done better than Whitebeard. My first point, and this feels like something that's not really talked about too much in the fandom, so I definitely want to bring it up. This was the first time, well, this point isn't, but this is setting the stage. This was the first time Oda specifically mentioned hockey. Before this, obviously, there was Mantra. Luffy had unintentionally used Conqueror's hockey, but let's put that to the side for now. This is the first time where Oda went out of his way to say, "Oh shit, a strike with hockey." So keep that in mind. That aside, so we could just assume that everyone in this war was using armament hockey. That doesn't change anything. My point is, Conqueror's hockey was unusable by Whitebeard. There was a moment where he was going to try to unleash it. He could not. So it had to come down to Luffy to unleash a burst and, knock out the miscellaneous characters and the executioners. So Whitebeard, the strongest man in the world, he was not able to use Conqueror's hockey. It's not that he didn't want to. He actively tried to use it. He couldn't. Bear in mind, all the other Yonko, Kaido, Big Mom, and Shanks, they are known to have Conqueror's hockey. They have been shown to use it. And shit, like, let's take Big Mom, for example. Her Conqueror's hockey was so strong that she hurt Katakuri and Smoothie. These are like big time pirates in the New World. Honestly, I would put them on par with Calamities, with the top two Calamities. But that's just my head canon. The point being, all the Yonko could do, not only were they capable of Conqueror's hockey, they could use Conqueror's hockey. Whitebeard could not. Because of his illness and his age, he was no longer the strapping young lad that he was in his youth. So yeah, continuing on. So let's continue setting the stage. The traps laid by the Marines would need to be considered as universal, in my opinion, if any other Yonko would replace Whitebeard. Like the walls raised by the Marines would always be raised. In my opinion, Whitebeard had the power most fitting to destroy the world, obviously, as is stated time and time again. But of course, he couldn't. So in my opinion, no other Yonko would have been able to break the walls. So in this case, all the Yonko are equal. If anything, Whitebeard is leading the pack in this one specific case. Okay, so moving on. Let's talk about the Beast Pirates. Yeah, the one orc has stated that the Beast Pirates number in the tens of thousands of pirates. I'm gonna go ahead and take the liberty of saying that's probably way more than the Whitebeard pirates and the allied captains combined. And the crew is led by the headliners, who, let's face it, have all been clapped by Luffy. Um, but we can, I would still say that against the average Marine, maybe even the average Vice Admiral, the headliners do pretty damn well. Luffy is obviously like OP as fuck, above first commander level, just short of Yonko level. So I wouldn't really use that to power scale. Um, but yeah, I would say that the headliners are probably not too shabby themselves. So after the headliners, we have the three calamities, the All Stars, Jack the Drought, Queen the Plague, and King the Wildfire. And let's start with Jack. He's taking L's left and right. The guy's not got a. He doesn't have a good batting history. Um, he he fought against Inuarashi and Nekomamushi. He was on even toes with them, and they were switching out every 12 hours, being the dukes of the day and the night. But I mean, he went toe to toe with them. He went toe to toe with a scabbard. He also got he got clapped by Ashura Doji, so I'll just throw that in there. But I'll give credit where credit is due. He went up against the Doflamingo convoy, and I mean that included Sengoku, Fujitora, Suru. Like these were some big names, and he didn't win. But I mean, he didn't exactly lose. He didn't die. He walked away from that, and that's saying something. So then moving on, Queen the Plague. He was knocked out by Big Mom. Um, so it's kind of I could see if people would laugh at him, but at the same time, it's Big Mom, even though she clapped him without using any type of hockey. But still, in his defense, he was able to brachio bomb her into unconsciousness. And let's not forget that a Gomu pistol from Luffy was just grazed off by Queen. It had no effect. Granted, this is base form, no hockey, no gear second or third, but still, I just want to throw that in there. Then we have King the Wildfire. He was strong enough to knock out the Big Mom pirates ship off the waterfall with one kick. There's a lot of like little details to this. For one, the Big Mom pirates didn't exactly fight back. I don't know why. I feel like Smoothly, of all people, could have like done something to stop him, but that's beside the point. He was able to knock them out. So yeah, bearing all this in mind, um, let's put them against the Marines. I think the headliners would do pretty damn well against most of the Marines. The fodder. I think they would pretty well, pretty well against the vice admirals too. Let's be honest. The three all stars, I could definitely see them taking on the admirals. I'm not saying they would win. I'm just saying they would not be one shotted. I think they can give them a run for their money. Um, and I mean, let's bring the head. Let's bring in Kaido. I think he would clap all of them. I don't think honestly, this is just my headcanon, but I don't think all three of the admirals could take on Kaido. And if they did, it would be extremely high diff. Um, but yeah, Kaido's the ace in the hole. But let's move on. Big Mom, my favorite Yonko. Her crew is massive. Like I think people forget about this. Just her officers are in the hundreds. And all the rank and file pirates, the chess pieces and allies. I mean, how many pawns does she have? Some like 10, 20,000, something like that. Um, we know it's in the tens of thousands as well, just like the Beast Pirates. Her sweet commanders are monsters. Cracker, he's looked down upon in the One Piece community. I don't get that because I think he was actually stupid strong. We just didn't get to see him against other opponents. He was strong enough to beat Rouge, a he's a New World pirate at this age and one of the worst generation. Um, but I mean, he was thought to be able to bring in Doflamingo, and let's remember, Doflamingo was, I'd say, he was kind of low diffed by Luffy. If it hadn't been for the time limit on Gear Fourth, Luffy would have clapped. And I mean, it took all of Luffy's strength to beat Cracker. Moving past that, and so let's keep in mind, Cracker's the weakest of the three commanders. We haven't really seen Smoothie, but we know she has an insanely strong Devil Fruit ability. And my man Katakuri, he's been shown to be one of the strongest characters in the series. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you agree, disagree. This is fact. His future sight is extremely rare. We can assume some of the god tier fighters in the One Piece world have it, but we haven't really seen anyone use it. There's an argument to be made that Whitebeard did, but I'll talk about that later or in another video. But yeah, Katakuri can literally see the future. His ability would be able to negate even Haki infused attacks, since he could just mold himself against them, like he did in Whole Cake Island. He'd rack the Marines, honestly. All three of the three commanders have attacks that have a large area effect, unlike most of the Whitebeard commanders that were shown in Marineford. And then we have to factor in Katakuri. Before we factor that in, let's talk about Marco. He tanked hits from the admirals. So, respect to that. But Katakuri wouldn't even have to take those hits. He would just mold his mochi around them. Those hits wouldn't even make impact. He could just keep going. And finally, we have the fandom favorite, Shanks. We don't have much to go on the red-haired pirates. We just know they were strong as fuck. They were strong enough to end the war. Shanks was strong enough to take on one of Akainu's hits with one hand. I guess one arm. But yeah, he didn't even have to whip out the other one. Not that he had it. Ha ha ha. But yeah, even Blackbeard, who was at this point, he was cocky enough to go against every single one of the Marines with his crew. He was scared of Shanks. He ran away because of him. His crew is smaller than the others. It's smaller by far than the others, but it's about quality over quantity. And his haki was strong enough to knock out most of the non-named characters of the Marines. That 200,000 person army would be knocked way down just by a haki pulse from Shanks. I mean, it was said that his haki would be enough to knock out all 100,000 of the new Fishman pirates. So I don't think the Marines would do too well against that. His commanders are presumably just as powerful. We haven't seen much from them, but we know Kizaru definitely didn't want to take on Beckman. We have Yasop, who is a legend. We have LaRue. I mean, we gotta love that guy. But yeah, we don't have much information, but honestly, I'd say Shanks, he might be the one that puts up the biggest fight against them. Just as haki would make up for like thousands of pirates. And I mean, his crew are just, that's all killer, no filler. So then, moving on, back to the haki, it came down to Luffy to save the day. Like I said, all the other Yonko have Conqueror's haki. We've seen Shanks use his on top of Whitebeard's ship. We've seen Big Mom. I'm pretty sure she's done it several times, but I'll focus on the time at the wedding when Mother Caramel's picture was broken and she let out that pulse. Kaido, I know he's used it. I will try to remember before I post this video, but if not, please tell me in the comments where, because I know for a fact that he has. But on the other side, all of them have strong Conqueror's haki, and we know for a fact that Whitebeard does too, because I mean his Conquerors against Shanks, it split the sky. So he has it. It's strong as fuck. No argument there. My point is, he could not use it during the war. He tried. He wanted to, but he couldn't. Luffy had to do it. I mean, that's a huge limit to his power right there. So yeah, in conclusion, that's why I think the other Yonko, any of the other Yonko, would have done much better at the war in Marineford. Big Mom and Kaido, they have way more pirates under their flag than Whitebeard did. Shanks, I would say that it's a reasonable assumption to say that he has the strongest Conqueror's Hockey in the series so far. But either way, all three of them had Conqueror's Hockey and they could use it at will, unlike Whitebeard. Um, and yeah, I would say that all of them have better commanders than Whitebeard did. It's hard to scale Marco's power, and he's one of my favorite characters. So it's kind of one of those things where I'm like, oh, he could take on anyone. But at the same time, being realistic, I don't think he was that strong. He's strong as hell. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes to that top tier of One Piece characters, I don't really think he makes a cut. I'll be honest. But I mean, I'd put my money on King. I would definitely put my money on Katakuri. You know, doing pretty well in a one versus one against one of the admirals. But yeah, in conclusion, this has been my video. Thank you for watching it. It was my first one. It was a pleasure doing this, talking to you all. If you have any questions, comments, criticisms, please leave them in the comments. I'd be more than happy to get back to you. I'd be more than happy to learn anything that you guys have to say that maybe I missed, that maybe I forgot. So yeah, in conclusion, first video, Stars of the Yonko, sailing out.